The village was small, hidden between green fields and tall hills. Life was simple there. Farmers worked the land, children played in the dust, and elders sat around fire sharing stories. No one thought about war. No one believed danger could reach them. But danger came with fire. It began at dawn. A strange sound rolled across the sky, louder than thunder, deeper than drums. The earth shook as if the hills were groaning. Villagers came out of their homes, looking up with fear. Then they saw it, the burning lights in the clouds. Ships, not like any bird or human craft, fell from the heavens. And with those ships came fire. Flames rained from the sky, falling on houses, animals, and people. Screams filled the air. Mothers pulled children close. Fathers tried to fight the spreading fire with water, but nothing could stop it. The sky itself looked red, as if the sun had shattered and poured fire on the earth. In the middle of the chaos, a roar split the world apart. It was not the roar of fire. It was the roar of something alive. From the clouds, wings spread wide, massive, black, and shining like metal. The villagers froze. Their grandfathers had spoken of dragons only in old myths, creatures of smoke and legend. Yet here it was, real, alive, its eyes burning brighter than the flames around them. The dragon descended into the village. Each beat of its wings sent shockwaves through the fire and dust. People screamed louder. They thought the beast had come to finish what the fire had started. Men grabbed tools and sticks, though they knew no weapon could harm something so large. Children cried as shadows covered them. The dragon landed with a crash. Its claws tore into the earth, leaving marks deeper than plows. Its head turned, slow and searching. Then it moved, straight toward the ruins of a house that had already collapsed. From beneath the burning wood, a weak cry came. A child was trapped inside, coughing in smoke, tiny hands scratching at the dirt. The flames were seconds away from swallowing the child whole. The dragon lowered its head. People held their breath. Was it going to eat the child? Crush it? But instead, the dragon moved carefully. Its claws, sharper than swords, pulled away burning wood as if peeling the shell of an egg. The giant beast bent lower and, with impossible gentleness, lifted the small human in its jaws. The villagers gasped. None of them dared to move. The child dangled in the dragon's mouth, not harmed, not bitten. The creature stepped back, away from the flames, and placed the child carefully on the ground. The child coughed, tears rolling down dirty cheeks, but was alive. Alive because of the dragon. For a long moment, silence ruled the burning village. Only the crackle of fire and the sobs of the rescued child filled the air. People stared at the dragon in shock. Why had it saved a human? The beast looked at them. Its golden eyes glowed, reflecting both fire and sadness. Then it raised its head, releasing another roar, this time not of rage, but of warning. It was almost as if it was telling the humans, "Run. Escape." And then, from above, came more ships. Dark shapes hovered in the sky, larger and deadlier than before. The villagers saw strange figures inside, moving like soldiers, but not human. Their weapons pointed down. The ships circled, searching. The dragon snapped its wings open, sending waves of dust across the burning ground. It stood tall, blocking the people from the ships above. For the first time, the villagers saw something they could not explain. The dragon was not attacking them. It was protecting them. But why? The child, weak but alive, looked up at the dragon and whispered something only the beast seemed to hear. The dragon bent its head lower, as if listening. Something passed between them, something no one else could understand. And then, screams again. One of the alien ships fired. A burning beam ripped through the sky, exploding in the middle of the fields. The earth shook. The dragon roared back, flames spilling from its jaws, a fire so hot it melted the ground. The villagers dropped flat, covering their heads, as the fight between beast and sky-born machines began. The dragon leapt upward, wings beating like storms. The ships swarmed it, firing beams of deadly light. The sky turned into a battlefield. Yet in the heart of the burning village, the rescued child stood, watching with wide eyes. The people pulled the child away, hiding behind the ruins. They whispered among themselves, "Why did the dragon save one of us? Is it with the enemy? Or against them? No, maybe it's not a monster at all. The battle raged above. Flames and light clashed, thunder rolled, and the dragon's roar shook every stone. No villager could understand what was happening, but one thing was clear: this was not just a story anymore. It was the beginning of something greater. When the dragon crashed back to the ground, bleeding but alive, its eyes turned once more to the child. In that silent look was a secret, a promise, and a warning. The child was not just a survivor. The child was the reason the dragon had disobeyed. And in that moment, beneath smoke and ashes, humanity's future quietly shifted. The fire did not die quickly. Even when the alien ships left the sky, smoke still curled over the ruined village. The air was heavy, bitter with ash, and every breath carried the taste of loss. Houses had become black bones. Trees stood like burned skeletons. The cries of the living mixed with the silence of the dead. Yet in all that silence, whispers began. The villagers gathered in broken groups, their faces dark with soot and tears. Some kept glancing at the sky, afraid the ships would return. Others stared at the giant shape lying near the edge of the village, the dragon. It was wounded. Its wings, strong enough to fight storms, were torn and smoking. Its body, covered in black metal-like scales, had cracks glowing faintly with heat. The beast breathed slowly, each breath a rumble that shook the ground. But it did not rise again to attack. It simply watched. The child it had saved sat near it, clutching something small and strange in tiny hands. It looked like a stone, but not of this earth. It pulsed with a faint blue light, glowing softly even through the smoke. No one knew where it had come from. Some said the dragon had given it. Others whispered the child had taken it from the fire. Either way, the stone felt alive. The elders of the village argued in low voices. "This beast destroyed us," one said. "No," another answered. "The fire came from the sky. The dragon fought them." "But it is still one of them," a third hissed. "It is a weapon. Look at its scales. That is not the skin of a living creature. It is made for war." The people turned their eyes back to the child. The little one held the glowing stone tighter, as if afraid someone would take it. The dragon's gaze never left the child, and in that gaze was something no one expected: patience, almost care. The whispers grew darker. What if the beast has cursed the child? What if that stone is a signal? What if more ships will come for it? Better we cast them both out before we are all killed. The child did not hear these words. The child's eyes were fixed on the dragon, and strangely, the dragon blinked slow and calm, like a guardian. As night came, the survivors huddled near the ruins, too afraid to sleep. The fires still glowed red across the ground, throwing long shadows. From the hills, strange shapes moved, scouts from the alien ships. They were not fully human, their bodies tall, thin, and covered in armor that shifted like liquid. Their eyes glowed the same color as their weapons. They watched the village from the darkness, their voices a strange hiss. They saw the dragon still alive, still near the humans. One of them raised a device, speaking into it. The words were not in human tongue, but their meaning was clear. "The dragon has betrayed us." The aliens vanished back into the hills, but the danger did not. The dragon, even wounded, raised its head and let out a low growl, as if warning the humans that enemies lurked close. Some villagers shrank away from the sound, clutching their children. Others felt a strange spark in their chests. If the dragon was truly a weapon of the enemy, why had it not killed them already? Why had it saved a child? The night stretched long. At some point, the child fell asleep against the dragon's side, the glowing stone clutched to the chest. The giant beast did not move, did not breathe fire, did not roar. It only lowered one wing, sheltering the child from the wind and the smoke. Morning came weakly, the sun hidden behind a sky still gray with ash. The survivors rose, weary and broken. And with morning came questions. Some wanted to leave the village and never return. Others wanted to follow the dragon, believing it was a sign from old legends. And still others whispered darker thoughts, that the beast and child together would bring only death. But the decision was not theirs to make. Because the sound returned. That deep, heavy rumble in the sky. The alien ships were coming again. Their shadows slid across the ground, long and sharp, circling the ruins. The villagers froze, fear turning their hearts to stone. The dragon's eyes snapped open, burning bright once more. It rose, slow but steady, its wounds still glowing. Smoke curled from its jaws. The child woke, clutching the glowing stone, and for the first time spoke words everyone could hear. "They're coming for us." The dragon bent its head, staring at the child. A low growl rolled out of its throat, but it was not a growl of anger. It was a growl of agreement. The villagers looked to the sky, to the dragon, and finally to the child holding the strange light. And in that moment, none of them knew what frightened them more. The ships that hunted them, the dragon that might betray them, or the child who had become part of something far larger than any of them could imagine. The whispers grew louder, and the smoke, still rising from the ashes, carried those whispers into the sky. The sky filled with black shapes. Alien ships circled like hawks above the wounded village. Their weapons glowed, ready to strike again. The villagers panicked. Some ran toward the hills, others froze in fear. But one sound cut through the chaos, the deep growl of the dragon. The beast rose, though its wings were torn and body burned. Smoke drifted from the cracks in its scales, but its golden eyes shone bright. It stood between the villagers and the descending ships. Its shadow fell across the child, who clutched the glowing stone tighter than ever. The villagers whispered, "It is protecting us again." But doubt lingered. Was it truly protecting them, or only the child? The ships opened, and from them fell shapes, tall, armored creatures with sharp limbs and glowing eyes. The aliens landed like falling stars, their weapons raised. They moved with precision, as if hunting prey they already owned. One alien stepped forward, larger than the rest. Its voice, carried through a strange device, echoed across the ruined ground. "Dragon Unit 7, it said, in a language that was not human but still understandable through their machines. "You were made to destroy, not to protect. Obey your masters. Kill the humans." The villagers gasped. The dragon was not free. The great beast lowered its head, its body shaking as if chains invisible to human eyes pulled against it. Sparks flared across its scales. It groaned, a deep sound of pain, not rage. The child cried out, "Stop! Leave it alone." The alien leader ignored the child. It raised a device in its clawed hand, pressing symbols that glowed red. The dragon roared, but this time it was not a roar of choice, it was forced. Its body jerked, its claws dug into the earth, and its wings spread wide. The villagers screamed and ran. For a terrible moment, it looked as if the dragon would turn its fire against the people. But then the glowing stone in the child's hands pulsed brighter. The child stepped forward, shouting with all the strength a small voice could carry. "No! Don't hurt them!" The dragon froze. Its body trembled under the control of the alien device, but its head turned toward the child. Its golden eyes locked on the stone's blue light. The chains pulled, but something inside the beast pulled harder, the bond it had made. The alien leader hissed. "It resists." More commands flashed on the device, and the dragon cried out in pain, flames bursting from its jaws against the ground. The heat scorched the earth, but the flames never touched the child or the villagers hiding behind rubble. The aliens moved forward. "If the unit is broken, then we destroy it. And the child too." The villagers watched in horror as weapons charged. Yet in that same moment, the dragon snapped free of the commands. The invisible chain still burned its body, but it leapt forward, striking with claws and fire at the aliens. The ground shook as the first soldier was crushed under its weight. The others scattered, beams of light slashing through the smoke. The battle was chaos. The villagers cowered in ruins. Some shouted prayers, others screamed for help. The child stayed in the open, stone glowing brighter, as if the light inside answered the dragon's struggle. Wherever the child went, the dragon fought harder, breaking through the commands that chained it. One alien warrior came close to the child, blade raised. Before it could strike, the dragon's tail whipped down, smashing the attacker into the dirt. Dust and fire rose together, covering the scene in shadows. The alien leader roared with fury. "Unit 7 is corrupted. Kill them both." But the dragon's roar drowned it out, full of defiance. It was clear now, the dragon was not a willing servant. It was a prisoner, forced into war, bound by alien masters. Yet somehow, a simple child had given it strength to resist. The aliens fell back, calling their ships. The leader glared, its eyes burning with hate. This is not over. The chain will tighten. The beast will break. And your world will burn. With that, the soldiers retreated into beams of light, vanishing into the sky. Silence fell once again, broken only by crackling fire and the heavy breaths of the dragon. Its body collapsed, exhausted, smoke pouring from its wounds. The child rushed forward, pressing small hands against its scales. The stone dimmed, but its faint glow remained. The villagers came slowly, their fear mixing with wonder. One elder whispered, "It is not their servant anymore. It chose us." But another hissed, "It is still dangerous. If the masters can control it, then they can use it to destroy us. We cannot trust this beast." The people argued again, their voices rising. Some wanted to help the dragon, to hide it. Others wanted to drive it away before the aliens returned. Through it all, the dragon said nothing. Its eyes stayed on the child, as if that small human was its only anchor in a world of fire and chains. And the child whispered, soft but strong, "You are not their weapon. You are free." The dragon closed its eyes, as if those words eased its pain more than any medicine could. But above, unseen, the alien ships still circled. And in their dark holds, new orders were already being written. The chains had not been broken. Not yet. The village never healed. Ash still covered the ground. The homes that once stood tall were now only black ruins. Survivors lived in fear, hiding in the shadows of broken walls, always looking to the sky. They knew the aliens would return. The chains on the dragon were not gone. The enemy would not forgive betrayal. But something had changed. The child and the dragon were never apart now. Wherever the small one walked, the dragon's golden eyes followed. The glowing stone still pulsed faintly in the child's hands, as if it carried the beast's heartbeat. At night, when the people whispered their doubts, the child would sit against the dragon's side, resting small hands on its scales. And the dragon, a weapon of war built to burn, lowered its wings to shelter the human-like family. The villagers argued more each day. "We must drive it away," one farmer said. "The aliens will destroy us all if they find it here." "No," an elder replied. "It fights them. With it, maybe we can survive." Another spat in anger. "Survive? You think this thing is our friend? It could kill us with a single breath." The child always stood between them and the dragon. "It saved me. It saved us. It is not like them." But not everyone was convinced. Far from the ruined village, across hills and broken towns, other humans watched the sky. Word of the battle spread like fire through dry grass. Survivors in other places heard the story, of a dragon that turned against its alien masters, of a child it protected, of ships that fled when the beast roared. For the first time in years of invasion, a spark lit inside the hearts of humankind. If even a weapon of the enemy could resist, maybe humanity could resist too. Small groups of fighters, men and women with stolen weapons and little hope, began to move toward the hills. They came searching, following whispers of the dragon. They came with fear, but also with desperate courage. One night, they arrived. Hidden in the smoke and mist, they entered the ruined village. The villagers looked at them with suspicion, but the fighters carried no threats. They came with questions. "Is it true?" one asked the elder. "The beast saved a child." Another added, "Does it fight them? Can it be turned against the masters?" The villagers hesitated, glancing at the dragon resting by the broken well. Its body was scarred, wings still torn, but its eyes burned bright. The fighters looked at it with awe and terror. The child stepped forward, holding up the stone. "It is not their weapon anymore. It is ours. No, it is free." The dragon raised its head at those words, letting out a low rumble that shook the ground. The fighters looked at one another, and for the first time, they felt something new, hope. But hope is dangerous. High above, the alien masters did not sleep. From their fortress ships in the clouds, they watched. They had seen the dragon disobey. They had seen it fight back. They had seen the humans gather like ants around fire. And they knew what it meant. Rebellion. New commands spread through the alien armies. Villages were to be crushed, humans hunted, and the dragon captured or destroyed. The masters would not allow their weapon to inspire resistance. The first attack came at dawn. A fleet of smaller ships descended on the hills, blasting fire into the earth. Fighters scattered, villagers screamed, and the dragon roared to life. It leapt forward, claws tearing into the ships as they hovered too low. Fire poured from its jaws, striking metal and ripping holes through alien machines. The humans saw it fight not against them, but for them. The child stood in the middle of the chaos, the glowing stone burning brighter than ever. Whenever the dragon faltered, the stone's light pulsed, and the beast rose again, defying its chains. But the aliens fought harder. Beams of burning light cut across the village, destroying what little remained. Soldiers stormed the ground, their armor gleaming, their eyes cold. They shouted orders no human understood, but their weapons spoke clearly, death. The humans resisted. With stolen rifles, with blades, with fire they fought. They fought not because they believed they could win, but because the dragon had shown them it was possible to fight. The battle was brutal. Smoke and blood filled the air. The dragon's fire shook the earth, and human cries rose with it. For every alien soldier that fell, 2 humans fell beside them. But no one retreated. Not this time. By nightfall, the attackers were driven back. Their ships rose into the sky, leaving behind broken ground and broken bodies. The dragon stood wounded once more, its scales cracked, but alive. The humans who survived gathered around it, their faces bloodied but their eyes burning bright. For the first time since the invasion began, they had pushed the enemy back. The elder looked at the fighters who had come from far away. You see now. With it we can stand. Alone, we die. Together, we may live. The fighters nodded. A new word passed between them, whispered like fire through dry grass. Rebellion. The dragon lowered its head, golden eyes on the child again. The child touched its scarred snout and whispered softly, "They cannot break you. And if they cannot break you, they cannot break us." But far above, in the dark fortress of the aliens, the masters were already planning. Their chains would tighten. Their armies would march. They would not lose their weapon easily. The flames of rebellion had been lit, and the masters would answer with fire of their own. The rebellion spread like sparks in dry grass. Villagers from far valleys, hunters from forests, even broken soldiers who once ran from battle, all came together. They carried old rifles, stolen alien weapons, and sharpened blades. They came not because they trusted each other, but because they believed in one thing, the dragon. The beast had become a symbol. Stories traveled faster than ships. Tales of the great dragon that turned against its masters, of a child it protected, of battles where humans pushed aliens back. For the first time in years, humanity whispered not only of fear, but of victory. But hope brought danger. The alien masters grew restless. Their chains had failed before, but they would not fail again. From the dark fortress ships, new hunters were prepared, machines sharper than the dragon's claws, weapons built for one purpose, to kill their own creation. And among humans, shadows moved too. Not all believed the dragon was a savior. Some feared it more than the aliens. Others saw a chance for power. Where hope burns, betrayal often waits. The dragon rested in the ruins of a stone city. Around it, humans gathered, turning broken walls into a camp. Fires burned, not of destruction, but of survival. The child sat close to the dragon, the glowing stone always in hand. Its light had grown brighter with each passing day, pulsing with the dragon's heartbeat. At night, the fighters argued. "We cannot face their armies," one man said. "One beast cannot fight 1,000 ships." Another answered, "It is not one beast. It is us with it. Together we are more." A woman spat on the ground. "And when the masters break its chains again, when it turns its fire on us." The child stood, voice small but steady. "It will not turn. It is free." The dragon's golden eyes opened, staring at the fighters. It let out a slow growl, not of threat, but of warning. The sound rolled through the stone walls like thunder. The camp grew silent. They all knew The enemy was coming. At dawn, the sky turned black. Alien ships poured across the horizon, their engines screaming. From their bellies fell soldiers like rain, armored and armed with weapons that burned through stone. Behind them came hunters, beasts of metal and fire, created by the same masters who had created the dragon. The battle began in blood and fire. The dragon roared, flames blasting the sky, tearing through the first wave of ships. Humans shouted and charged, rifles cracking, blades flashing. The ground shook with every strike of the dragon's claws. Alien soldiers fell, their bodies broken, their weapons scattered. But the enemy was endless. For every ship destroyed, 2 more descended. For every soldier crushed, another took its place. The hunters moved like shadows, fast and sharp, their weapons designed to pierce even the dragon's scales. The humans fought bravely. They moved together, covering each other, striking when the dragon's fire cleared the ground. But their courage could not hide the truth. They were being pushed back. The dragon bled. Cracks in its scales glowed red, smoke rising from wounds that cut deep. It fought harder, shaking free of the alien commands that burned across its body, but every strike left it weaker. Through the chaos, the child stood on broken stone, holding the glowing stone high. Its light burned brighter than ever, pulsing faster, stronger. The dragon's eyes locked on it, drawing strength, refusing to fall. Then betrayal struck. A man from the camp, one who had always spoken against the beast, lifted a stolen alien rifle. While others fought, he aimed, not at the aliens, not at the hunters, but at the child. "If the stone is the chain," he shouted, "then destroy the chain." The villagers screamed, but too late. The shot fired. The beam of light struck the ground beside the child, throwing dirt and fire into the air. The child fell, clutching the stone, as the traitor aimed again. The dragon roared like a storm. It turned with fury, tail lashing out. The traitor was crushed against the wall, his body broken. The humans froze, their fear twisting. Was the beast savior or monster? The child rose slowly, shaken but alive. The stone still glowed, unbroken. The dragon lowered its head, shielding the child with its massive body. But the distraction had cost them. One of the alien hunters struck, its spear of light driving deep into the dragon's side. The beast cried out in pain, flames bursting wildly into the sky. The humans scattered, some falling under the wave of fire. The enemy pressed harder, sensing weakness. The child screamed, "No! Don't give up! You are not theirs, you are ours!" The stone's light exploded, blazing like a second sun. The dragon rose again, stronger, its fire hotter, its claws sharper. With a single breath, it melted the hunter to ash. With another strike, it shattered a ship into pieces. The humans cheered, their voices rising over the screams of war. But even as victory flickered, the dragon staggered. Its body shook, blood steaming from its wounds. The aliens began to retreat, but not in fear. Their leader's voice carried through the battlefield, cold and certain. "Let it burn itself. Let it fall. It cannot fight forever." And as the ships pulled away, leaving smoke and blood behind, the truth weighed heavy on every human heart. They had survived. They had won, for now. But the dragon was broken, its strength fading. And the child, holding the stone, knew what others did not. The end was coming. The battlefield was silent after the enemy ships withdrew. Smoke rose from broken ground, carrying the smell of ash and blood. Human fighters sat among the ruins, their faces pale with exhaustion. Some wept for the dead, others stared at the sky, waiting for the enemy to return. And the dragon lay in the center of it all. Its wings were torn, its scales cracked and bleeding fire. Every breath rattled like thunder, heavy and slow. Yet its golden eyes still burned, fixed on the child who stood close with a glowing stone pressed against small hands. The child whispered, "Don't leave. Please, don't leave." The dragon rumbled low, almost gentle. But all who heard it knew the truth. The beast was dying. The humans gathered, their voices heavy with fear. "It cannot fight again," one man said. "If it falls, the rebellion ends," another replied. "No," an elder spoke, her voice trembling but strong. "The rebellion has already begun. The beast lit the fire. Now we must carry it. Even as they spoke, the sky darkened once more. Shadows spread across the clouds. The fortress ships of the enemy descended, larger than mountains, their engines howling like storms. This was no raid, no skirmish. This was the masters themselves, coming to end rebellion in one final strike. The humans trembled. No weapon they carried could harm those ships. No wall could block their fire. Even the dragon, broken and bleeding, could not stand against such power. But the dragon moved. Slowly, painfully, it rose to its feet. Its wings unfurled, torn but still wide enough to cover the camp in shadow. Smoke poured from its jaws. Its body shook, yet its eyes blazed brighter than ever. It looked down at the child, at the glowing stone, and then to the sky. It knew what had to be done. The child clutched the stone tighter, shaking their head. "No. You can't. You'll die." The dragon lowered its head, pressing its snout gently against the child. The stone flared with light, brighter than the sun, and in that light, the child understood. The dragon was not only fighting for them. It was giving itself for them. Tears streamed down the child's face. "I'll never forget." The dragon roared, a sound that split the heavens. With a final burst of strength, it leapt into the sky, wings beating like thunder. The ground shook beneath its power. Fire streamed from its jaws, painting the clouds red. The humans watched in awe and terror as the dragon soared higher, straight toward the fortress ships. Beams of burning light rained down, striking its body, tearing its scales, but it did not fall. It climbed faster, defying every chain, every command, every wound. The ships unleashed their full fury. Explosions lit the sky, brighter than stars. The dragon vanished into the storm of fire. For a breathless moment, humans below thought it was gone. Then the sky itself screamed. The dragon burst through the flames, its body burning like a comet, its wings aflame, its roar louder than the guns of war. With all its strength, it struck the lead fortress ship. Claws tore into metal, jaws ripped into engines. Fire from its heart exploded outward, spreading across the alien fleet. The heavens turned into a second sun. The blast shook the earth, knocking every human to the ground. Light blinded their eyes, heat burned their skin. When it faded, only ashes drifted through the sky. The fortress ships were gone. The dragon was gone. Silence fell. Humans rose slowly, staring at the empty sky. Some cried, some fell to their knees, some shouted in grief and triumph. The rebellion had not only survived, it had won its first true victory. The child stood still, the glowing stone clutched to their chest. It no longer burned bright. Only a faint ember pulsed within it, like a dying heartbeat. Yet the child smiled through tears. "It lives," the child whispered. "Not in chains. Not in fire. But in us." The fighters gathered around, their eyes on the child and the dimly glowing stone. In that moment, they understood. The dragon had not only destroyed the enemy. It had passed its fire into humanity itself. The elder spoke, voice breaking but strong. "The beast is gone, but its spirit remains. As long as we fight, as long as we rise, the dragon flies with us." The humans lifted their weapons high. For the first time, they did not shout in fear. They shouted in defiance, their voices rolling like thunder across the broken land. The rebellion had a new symbol. Not chains, not fear, but freedom. And far above, beyond stars and ashes, the last roar of the dragon still echoed, calling humanity not to kneel, but to rise.